Welcome to episode 2. So we have a lot to do today. I was going to start off by harvesting this field right here, but instead I'm going to run the combine right across the street and start over there with that field, just because that field's wheat. It's going to drop straw on the ground, and I could be baling that straw while this other field's being harvested. It probably won't work out like that, but it does make more logical sense to start with this field. So just to talk about kind of where we're at here. It's August, it's harvest time. We've got, 2 fields with crops. So if you're a farmer, that's top priority. So that's always going to be kind of our top priority is if we've got something to harvest, we have to start with that, right? Because that's just realistic. If we've got that taken care of, we can do other things. And I will drop straw. But I'm just going to take the corner of this field off real quick. We will drop straw. No, I already said that. Okay, I just wanted to take the corner of the field off real quick. So I'll run this guy up here and get him started. And as long as we've got our harvest going as our top priority, we can be doing other things, right? So I'll go ahead and I'll run the truck over because I'll know we'll need the truck over there in a minute. But past that, now I'm going to be free to do other things. And one of the things we can do is contracts. I already kind of said in the first episode, we're only going to do contracts if we own the equipment. And it's too easy to make money with contracts, in my opinion. I don't want to make the game super, super easy. So we're only going to do contracts if we own the equipment. But the other caveat is we're only going to do contracts if we're doing something else. So like right now, I'm harvesting this field. I cannot advance time to the next day. So since we're stuck, we can do contracts. If we're not stuck or confined to this day by anything else, then we have to advance to the next day. Like if I had nothing to do right now and I'm like, man, this contract, nope, I can't do it. I've got to advance to the next day. So I'm going to go ahead and I already looked through here. This is the only contract we're doing. And I've turned off the ability to borrow equipment. It doesn't really matter. Like I could still go and take a contract that I literally can't do. So it doesn't really do anything, but just stops me from accidentally pressing the button, I guess. So we'll go ahead and accept that contract and we'll take this tractor and I'm going to go ahead and hook him up to our spreader and we'll do it with solid fertilizer. We can do it with liquid as well, but we'll do it with solid. And the sell point for solid fertilizer is actually just right over by our field that we've already harvested that's got a little bit of straw in it. So I'm going to drive this guy over there and try not to run into that trailer, and we'll get him some solid fertilizer and then send him up and go ahead and get started on that. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to harvest some grass. Well, we're going to harvest some hay. So we're going to cut some grass there and cut some grass over next to the other field because we need to get some hay going for the animals. And we will worry about this straw that's in this field. But since there's going to be straw in the other field, I'm not going to worry about that yet. I'm going to worry about the hay. And then we also, we've got logging stuff to do. And I want to put down a small sawmill for the logging because that's going to get us more money. And I'd kind of like to put down a greenhouse. Yeah, there's a lot to do. So this sell point right here does lime and solid fertilizer, which is very convenient. And I'm trying to get up here for realism purposes. I've run into it. I don't have to get that close. The trigger goes out really far. I could actually trigger it where it's not actually on there, but just for realism. And one of these mods for contracts, I've got a couple of contract mods, but one of them adds what it thinks is going to be the usage. So it thinks we're going to need 1,000 liters of fertilizer for that field. Now that assumes 100% of the fertilizer you put down gets used. If you have overlap, which you will, especially on a weird shaped field like this, right? Like he's going to come down with a full row and the next row, part of it would be cut off, right? So you're going to waste fertilizer. So you know you're going to need more than 1,000 liters of fertilizer. So I'm just going to buy maybe 3,000. Now I'm going to run out of money in a second, and I do need money because we have a hired worker, and I'm going to actually have this guy be a hired worker. So I do need some more money. Oh, the lid was about to close automatically, and I reopened it. We can take out more of a loan. The reason that we can do that is your loan amount is based on, like, I think I'm going to say net worth, and I don't know that that's 100% accurate, but basically last episode, I maxed my loan out. But because last episode I bought more land, I can now take out a bigger loan. So our max loan last episode was $575. I can go up to 720. I can take out 146,000. Now I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. I do not need nearly that much money, but we're going to buy another tractor in a minute, and I'm going to need some more money. So I'm just maxing out my loan, mainly because I just want everyone to see that's our maximum loan amount. We cannot use more money than that. There's no more money available. That's it. So I'm going to get this guy up here, and we'll go ahead and go to, where are we here? Create job. We're going to send you down to here. I am clicking. There we go. That should get him on the way. You can't do anything. I probably should go ahead and unload this guy real quick while he's still on the headland. I think that tractor might come from that direction. And see, right now I would be in a situation where, okay, I've got both of these workers going. What can I do? Well, I want to harvest grass. The John Deere tractor technically can pull the mower, but it's underpowered to do that. We really want that bigger tractor. I could have used the John Deere tractor and liquid fertilizer for the contract to free up the other tractor, but I already know we're going to have this situation happen quite a few times where, well, we kind of need two of the bigger tractors. So that's why I also wanted the loan amount. I should be able to park this guy right here. We'll put our flashers on, right, for safety first. And let's go ahead and buy another one of these tractors. And I like this tractor. It's just a good value for the money for what we're going to spend here for 83 grand. Well, it'll be a little more than that. Hold on. I got to get my wide tires and wheel weights and turn off the license plate. For 90 grand, it's pretty good value that we've got a 225 horsepower tractor. So we will go ahead and we will buy that. We will switch over to the store. We will get him coming back to the farm, and then we are going to hook him up to the mower, and then eventually the tedder and the windrower and the baler, and get some hay going for the animals. I don't think there's any more contracts that are going to pop up that I'm going to want anytime soon. Maybe if, we advance time, we might get some more. Like, I mean, I could technically do that. We'll kind of look at how much fertilizer's left. If I can basically just do that without buying more. Nothing else really looks that intriguing, but, and this guy, yeah, you're already over here. And that should be more than enough fertilizer. We gave him basically 3 times what he needs, but that's a really weird field. I will go ahead because we're going to do logging. We're going to try to do some logging in this episode because I would like to, ideally I would put down my sawmill in this episode. So we'll go ahead and start hooking this guy up to the front end loader, which we need to put the back weight on first. Mainly we're just killing time while the other tractor drives over here, but that's fine. We need to do this too. Put on our ridiculously oversized front loader. I did spend a lot of time looking for mods to see, like, okay, is there some huge front end loader? Or not front end loader? Is there some huge, well, yeah, front loader. Not, is that what you would still call it, as a front loader? Like a construction articulated front loader, a payloader, like one of those. That's huge and heavy and old, and so it would be cheap, and I couldn't really find anything I wanted. Let's go ahead and jump in this guy, and I will just turn auto drive off. Go ahead and get him hooked up to the mower, and then I will just meet you over on the other side of the field, and we'll do some mowing. All right, we're back over here. I want to make sure that this mower, yeah, I know I got to start the mower, but let me switch the mode. I want to make sure it's in brush hog mode, which it is. So this mod that adds this mower, there's also a mod called the real mower mod, and at the top of the list there you can say real mower turn off, and I am going to turn the real mower off. So I have the real mower mod and it's turned off. This mod for this mower, I can mow the grass in mower mode, and in brush hog mode it'll mow the grass, but in brush hog mode, it'll also mow down these, which is what the real mower mod does. Okay, yeah, that's cool, but that's fine. You just said you have the real mower mod, so what's the difference? Well, Also in brush hog mode, not only are we mowing down the grass and these bushes, and these are bushes that don't have collision. They're visually here, but they're not physically here. There are bushes like this, and I guess it's a bush, it's a little tree. I'm going to call it a bush just because it's multiple stems coming out of the ground. It has collision. I can't run through it. It is physically there. This mod for this batwing mower in brush hog mode, if you pull up, and we have to get the wood to come up and touch the back of this. If you hit the tire, it won't work. But if we get that to come into this space, or technically this space or this space, it will delete it, which is completely realistic, okay? A brush hog, and this is a batwing mower, not necessarily a brush hog, but when you lift it and you look at the blades, it will take out small trees like this, or bushes. Now see, I'm not quite getting it in there, but if I get it in there just right. Okay. The other thing you can do, because sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, if I fold this up, and you can tell those are the big, yeah, those are actual blades. I don't know how much of a tree, that's not really a real brush hog. Kind of just ignore what I said. It could be a brush hog, but it's not. So if I do this and I unfold it and it looks a little unrealistic, but if I can turn it on, there we go. Oh, I didn't quite get it. There. Like I was saying, okay, it's 90% of the time it's easier than that. The point is, the reason I like the batwing mod, the batwing mower here, this mod, is that I can drive around in brush hog mode and I can mow the grass. It will mow down the bushes like this that are visual only, and it will take out a bush like this one. And I think, did I have the mower raised? I think you have to have the mower raised to do it. Oh, that might have been what was wrong. You have to have the mower raised. And when the mower's down, it's also a stump grinder. So it'll also take out any stumps you have. So that's why I like this. And we're going to be using this, not just, yeah, it's very unrealistic to use this to mow hay. I kind of admitted that when we bought it, that I don't think I've ever seen anybody use a batwing mower to mow grass down for hay. But we're going to be doing some logging over here and using a brush hog, which again, not necessarily saying this is a brush hog, but using a brush hog to then come in afterwards and take out little bushes and stuff. That's like really realistic. And I don't know, there's something about it that I don't like driving stuff, but I find this very satisfying in land clearing, that I cut down the big trees and then I get to come in with the brush hog and clear it all, and I'm left with just grass. And we will be making like an actual like grass field over here at some point. So I'm just going to probably do a little time lapse here. Actually, first, I already did this once and you guys didn't see me do it, but probably need to run over here before I start a time lapse and empty this guy. Because otherwise I know I'm going to have to do it in the middle of the time lapse. So we'll come down here and meet him at the other end of the field. And it looks like our fertilizer contract's going to be done pretty soon too. Yep, 80% full. I knew you were getting about full. And I already, filled him up once here. And I will say too, this is not the first time I've recorded this. There was some sort of issue. I don't know what it was. I don't remember now what happened the first time, but I recorded this. And the first time I harvested this field, I used a worker and I filled this truck and then got more. And this truck holds 22,000 liters. So I want to say I got like 25, 26, 27,000 liters off this field. And then for some reason I reloaded my save and I had to re-record it. And I don't remember what that reason was. But the second time I used Courseplay because I was like, oh, when I went to bale this with straw, I'm like, I need the Courseplay course. It'll make it a lot easier. So then I harvested this field with Courseplay. And when I harvested this field with Courseplay, using that same combine, I didn't even fill this truck. So we're doing it again, and I'm using the in-game helper. And I don't know why. I'm going to run an experiment. Not right now because I'm tired of harvesting this field. But we will run an experiment the next time we're ready to harvest something. Not on this episode, so I'm not doing that little field. But I'll kind of like load my save, do it one way, and then load my save and do it the other way, and see if I can figure out, like, is that like a Courseplay bug, or was that just like a random thing that happened, or what? Okay, I'm going to real quickly switch over. Come back. I want you to stop and fold up because you're wasting my... Oh, yeah, so he did use right at 1,000 liters. So we will go ahead and we will take that fertilizer contract. We'll collect on that one. And we'll definitely have enough for that. I need to go to here. Where are you at? You're down here. Great job. And that one was up here somewhere. Tell him to get started. And so we don't, yeah. He's planning. We'll see if he makes it. We will be getting a lot more into auto drive and setting up more auto drive stuff because it's so much better. It's just so much better. But I don't really want to get into all that right now. I'm trying not to run into that fence as I cross the street. I will just park you over here because I think... Now, let's just empty him. He could probably finish that off. But let's just empty him. And then I know he can finish that off. Okay, now let's do a little quick time lapse and let me get some stuff here mowed. Okay, and some of the logging we're going to do is going to be stuff like this tree, where it's kind of in my way. It's kind of in my way. I can't see to back up, and even if I could see through it, it's still kind of in my way. This thing takes a long time to disconnect. So we'll go ahead and hook the header up next. You already saw I got the combine working in the next field. I need to bring the truck over, but it doesn't really matter. That combine, I'm pretty sure, can harvest that whole canola field without having to unload. And it looks like our tractor made it to the other field to fertilize. So I did say in the first episode, but just in case you didn't see it, in real life, when you cut grass and you're trying to make hay, you cut the grass and you got to wait for it to dry out in order to make it hay. You can use a tedder in real life, and you use the tedder and it flips it and, kind of fluffs it up and stuff and helps it dry out. It doesn't magically do anything, right? It just stirs it up and helps it dry out. In game, the tedder is this magic device that immediately turns grass into hay. So it's grass, and then, oh, you see it's a different color? Yeah, it's hay. Is what it is, right? Like before they added seasons to Farming Simulator base game, the seasons mod actually did it like the right way, where you had to leave the grass on the ground for a certain amount of time and it would dry out. And if it rained on it, oh, well, it would just get wet, right? Like you just can't, bale hay in the rain and, this kind of thing. Whatever, they're getting there. They're adding things. I'm not going to complain too much about it, but I just like to point out kind of where, because they call it Farming Simulator, and there are some things that are simulator, and then though there's other things where it's like, no, it's a video game. It's not a simulator. So I'll I guess we'll do another time lapse here because I need to run around and I need to ted all this. And the tedding's not too bad. I'm pretty happy. I'm really happy with the mower. I really like that mower, the width of the mower and how quick I can go. I'm perfectly fine with the tedder being this wide. It's really easy to control. The windrower, even though the windrower is literally like this wide, it's just not quite wide enough. So I'm not crazy about the windrower. And it's mainly because the windrower puts everything in the center. If the windrower, I don't know why that's hard to say, put everything to one side, which there are ones that do that, but they're way more expensive, I'd be happier with it. But let's go ahead and probably just time lapse this. Let me check on this guy here. Oh yeah, you're only at 32%. You can definitely unload that whole field. And where's this guy at? You're at 63. Whenever that gets near the end, I'll jump over and shut him off. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and bring this guy back too. Oh. Weren't we supposed to drop straw in this field? And I will drop straw. And I will drop straw. Oops. I used the in-game thing. Why didn't it drop straw? Does it just go off of what the combine was set to? Well, we're not baling straw there. It's really not that big of a deal. At first, I'm like, oh, should I reload and do this again? Like, no, I've recorded this too many times. The thing is, we don't need straw right now. We're going to use straw eventually for TMR. We don't need the straw right now. Whatever. We were supposed to get straw off that field. I don't care. I'm not doing it again. And I'll just bring this truck out here so the combine can unload into it when it's done. That was a bit of a mistake on my part, but it's okay. It's okay. All right, time-lapse time. Let's get this tedded. Yeah, so the thing is, what I don't like about the windrower, it's just, you look at this, and I was able to TED that in 2 passes. And to windrow it, you're looking at it and you're like, ah, man, I could windrow that in 2 passes too, right? But you can't quite. You can kind of do it in 3, and then you're like, oh, and then I got to go back and forth with the baler 3 times. So I think I could probably windrow it into 1 windrow if I went back and forth, like 3 times, right? Maybe 4, and then you end up like going back and forth like 8 times. I don't think I needed to come back this time, but I just wanted to come back one more time just to be sure. And yeah, it's just not quite wide enough. So it's fine. You got to have progression. We got to start off with the small equipment and work our way up. So this is what we got for now. And it won't be that bad because I will have, once we chop these trees down kind of along this hill to this area I'm almost to, we'll be able to set this up as an actual grass field. And I'm not going to collect everything here. I'm only making 1 pass on this. I don't care if I miss some. But once we can get this area to the right as a grass field, I mean, I'll have a worker and it won't really matter if the windrow, takes a few passes or not. But definitely out of all the equipment we have, I feel like the windrower is definitely the first one where I'm like, I need a bigger one. Or at least if I have the kind that's literally like 4 times as expensive, but it will windrow this width, but dump it all on one side. that would make a huge difference, because you could run down the left side and dump it right, and then switch to the right side and dump it left, and basically combine 2 passes into 1 instead of 2 passes into 2, if that makes sense. But yeah, you gotta have a little bit of pain at the beginning. That's what makes the progression nice. And like this area here, I think I windrowed this in 4 passes. Or I'm sorry, I think I tedded this in 4 passes. And to windrow it, I don't think we can windrow it in 4 passes. Maybe we can. Just becomes a bit of a challenge. But my plan is not to time lapse every single thing I do. I want you to see the first time I do something, I'll time lapse it, right? So it's like, you've seen me do all the grass stuff now. Well, not the baling yet, but we'll time lapse the baling in a second. The next time I go to do this exact same thing in this area, I'm not going to time lapse it. It might be a little montage where I show you a little bit of it, but it won't be a full time lapse, just because you don't need to see the same thing over and over again. Now, if we went to do another field for the first time, maybe I would do a time lapse or something. But yeah, that's kind of my goal, is not to show the same thing over and over again, because that's not what I want to see, and I just kind of assume other people don't want to see that. But let me go ahead, and I just need to make what looks like 2 more passes here, and then I will bring you guys back. Yeah, so I think I tedded this in 4 passes, but it took me 5 passes to windrow it, even though they're both the same width, just because I have to have a little more. I meant to press X and not C. I have to have a little bit more overlap with the windrow, or I can't miss anything. So we'll go ahead and put this guy up, and then we will get out the baler. And I think, honestly, we're going to go bale that straw first. My plan was to bale the hay first, because we were going to have this huge straw field. But since I messed that up, and we don't have that huge straw field, yeah, let's go bale the straw first, because there's not much of it, and then get it off the bale trailer, and then we can come back and bale the hay. So I just got to drop this guy off. And I like, you kind of use all your equipment all at once, right? Whether it's planting, or then it's, kind of like fertilizing and weeding or whatever, or it's harvest time. You kind of use all your equipment, you get it out, and then before you put it back, you wash it all, and you do all your maintenance, and then you put it back, and then you're done with that equipment, for that season. I do like that, because I'm just going to run into the building here. I'm trying not to, but I'm trying to talk, and this thing is not easy to back up, because I can't quite see what I want to see. Jeez, there we go. Yeah, so anyways, I would normally bring all the stuff over here, and we would repair it and wash it and refuel it. Oh, speaking of that, I still need to move the fuel tank. Yeah, we're going to move the fuel tank out, and the bale thing's at the other end of the building anyway. And by move the fuel tank, what I really mean is we're going to sell this fuel tank that's right here on the corner of the building, and then put it down there. That way I can kind of drive up into one spot, and I can wash, repair, and refuel all from one area. But normally we will do that. We'll wash, repair, refuel, and then we'll put our equipment up. But I just barely used any of that stuff for like 10 minutes. So I'm not going to wash all that baling equipment, because none of it actually got dirty or needs repaired. And yeah, so we'll go over here and we'll do the straw first, and we're not going to get many straw bales, but again, I don't really care. We're just kind of baling straw now, because we're going to need it later, and using these little bales for straw is not ideal. Oh, I almost went for it. I need to make sure that the baler is unfolded. I need to make sure that the bale trailer is in operating position so that it does the auto load. And if you're not familiar, let me switch back to the baler, drop it down, and turn it on. Auto load is this magic thing where you just drive by bales that are on the ground, and then poof, they appear on your trailer. Very unrealistic, right? I am using auto load on this trailer because in this particular case, it's extremely realistic. This is exactly how this would work in real life. The bales would come off of that baler, and then they would get stacked on this trailer. The only difference is there would be a person or two standing here, and this chute would come back a lot farther. Well, maybe the trailer would just be closer and the chute would be higher or whatever. But the point is, you wouldn't drop these bales on the ground. You would just stack them as you're going. So what I'm doing with the auto load here is actually totally realistic. It's just that I should have 2 people standing on that trailer, and it should be charging me a little bit of money for those workers. But, that's not a thing, unfortunately. Maybe some, Farming Sim in the future or some other modder will add that someday, but we will go ahead and I'm not going to make you watch all this. Let me bale this straw. I'm going to drive over. I'm going to drop this little bit of straw into the barn, and then I'm going to start baling the hay, and we'll just do a time lapse of that. Okay, we got that done. And I know I mentioned it in the first episode, but I just want to say it again. We're, kind of the role play scenario here is this is Grandpa's farm, and we've come to take over, help him out, take over / kind of both. And so Grandpa's got 3 cows. I totally believe he has this little tiny baler, and he goes out and bales this hay with this little tiny baler for his 3 cows. Like, it's totally realistic to me. Obviously, we want to upgrade to a much bigger baler and not have to deal with this, but it is kind of cool. Now, this cow enclosure, I mentioned this too in the first episode. You don't have to feed the cows. Nothing bad's going to happen, but you're not going to make money off the cows if you don't feed them and give them water. They've already got water. They get the meadow for free, and that feeds them, but it's only 40%, right? Hay is 80% effective, which is what we're going to feed them now, and eventually we'll go to the total mixed ration, which is 100% effective, which is great. So we're going to feed them the 80%. Now, this holds a lot of hay. So normally I would take the hay over and unload it, and then I would have to bring some back, which is what we bought the little UTV for, to bring hay back. I'm just going to go ahead and unload it right here, right now. And then what we don't need, we're going to pick it back up on the trailer. I don't have a way to just take it off the trailer very easily. So this is kind of our little cheaty way to do it. And the reason we're doing this is most of these bales are going to disappear, because this thing's got an internal storage. Once the internal storage is full, the bales will stop disappearing. Then we're still going to stack a bunch of bales in here. Then what's left, we'll just auto magically throw back onto the trailer. But roleplay wise, we're going to pretend, obviously we didn't bring all these bales off, right? We only threw the bales off that we needed. I just don't have a way to do that in game. And where are we at here? We're only halfway. We're only halfway on the internal storage. And I do have a mod that gives me super strength, but that's not what this is. These bales are small enough that you can just pick them up by hand, which is, I don't know, it's kind of fun. In real life, I wouldn't want to have to get up and feed cows every day or have to, worry about that kind of thing. But in game, it's kind of fun to, have something, especially in Farming Simulator. There's not a lot to do in the winter. And so, I got to check on the animals. I got to get them some water. Oh, we're full. And I just... Oh, there it is. I'm like, wait a minute here. Something's up. That cow just stole a bale. All right, so now that it's full, I want to try to organize them in. I won't make you sit through and watch this the rest of the time. It'll just be something where I'll take the UTV. Yeah, we'll just leave that one stood up. I don't really care. I'll just take the UTV and we'll drive over to the barn and we'll grab some hay bales, and then I'll come over and feed them. Come on, drop down. But like, here's where you can kind of see the dimensions don't quite work out with these size bales. I think it's meant for just a large bale, and you just drop one large bale in. but I'll stack a bunch up because I don't want to do this every month. Okay, that's probably pretty good. All right, so on the bale trailer, I want to reset. I want to go to operating position. I want to back up. It doesn't have like a super big auto loading range, which is fine because that's not what we're using it for, is this kind of thing. Right? And so roleplay wise, we just never took those bales off because obviously you're not going to unload the whole trailer. Oh, I don't think I'm going to have to drive around the building again to get this to line up or come from the other direction. Now we'll just go around the building again. So why get it in as far as we can. There you go. Yeah, I don't need to fold the baler up. There's really no reason for that. So again, you know, the steering on all the tractors, and I don't know, it's like my keyboard or it's the game or what, but some of the steering, it's like if you go from centered to hard right, it takes you a certain amount of time. But to go from hard right to centered, sometimes it takes you a different amount of time. I don't know, it's weird. So it's like I end up understeering or oversteering. And I could just drive over and unload this into the grain bin, but you know, we're going to be a little bit realistic, and we're going to unload this into the truck, and then the truck will unload into the grain bin. So I'm going to park him up here. We're not going to repair, refuel, clean it. Instead, I'm going to park it right here, and that's because I expect we're going to get several contracts. Is this thing on? No. We'll go ahead and park him up here. And so I expect we'll get several contracts where we might do some fertilizing, some liming, some harvesting, and I like to just park all my stuff up here in a line and know that we haven't, you know, put it away. We don't put it away until it's washed, repaired, refueled, okay? And then we will go ahead and dump you, and then we're going to go ahead because I have two choices at this point. I could advance time until we get some contracts to do, or I could do the logging stuff now. Like basically, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do some logging because I want to make room for a sawmill. But do I do the sawmill now and not have contracts to do in the background? Or do I advance time to, like, you know, 3-4 hours from now? Because I don't really want, well, no, because if we do logging, I have to have this truck. Yeah, unless we buy another one of these trucks already, which wasn't really in the plan. Now let's wait until we need one. I don't know why it's doing that. I don't know why it's doing that. The mod did not do that. I had that thing attached and detached over at the dealership, and it didn't do it. I don't know if I have a mod conflict because of some mod I added after that, but that thing was working perfectly and wasn't doing that. So I don't know. All right, so logging wise, I'm going to start over here. And what we want to do is we want to clear some trees. And I'm probably just going to park you back here for now because I don't know exactly. We're going to clear some trees in this area because there's a pretty decent, let me just switch. So here's the farm, right? We own this field. We own these 3 fields. We own this field. And we will combine these 3 fields together, but I'm just literally going to plow that strip and this strip. I mean, there's really not much to it. We've got our pasture here, and then we got our buildings. We've kind of got our buildings in this area. And so I'm kind of looking, our main way we go, honestly, a lot is we take this road this way. And then I have to like turn, or I have to kind of turn, or turn. What I'm thinking is this path here, what if it just came straight to this intersection? So when we're coming down this road, we would just go straight onto our driveway. So I'm kind of thinking like we'll take these trees out here to go straight, and then we'll take these trees out here maybe, and that would give us plenty of room because I want a sawmill and a greenhouse. I don't necessarily want the sawmill like up on the road. I mean, if this path went here, maybe the sawmill could sit in there. I'm not entirely sure. We'll take these trees out first, I guess, and move the driveway, and then kind of determine if we're going to take these trees out for the sawmill or take these trees out for the sawmill. And I want a greenhouse as well. And the greenhouse technically could go over here. That might not be a bad spot where the beehive was, because there's just like 1 or 2 trees, right? That's, where are we? Yeah, I think the greenhouse could definitely go here. I'm not sure about that land right there, but the land looks a little flatter over here. I'm not as worried about the greenhouse as the sawmill, though. Okay, so this is where we get to talk about the trees. I might come in with the brush hog and try to delete some of these bushes first. It's more satisfying to cut the trees down and then come in and clear the land. But it's easier to do it backwards. Oh, okay, we'll cut the trees down. Okay, so some of these trees are pretty good. This tree, for example, here, this is an oak. The oaks and the shagbark hickory are pretty decent to cut them down and chop the branches and load them on the log trailer and sell them as whole logs. And yeah, I do have to climb the tree. That's just, listen, I didn't invent the game, okay? I still, after 3 farming simulator games, don't know what the secret is to this. I've seen people that will just run down a tree and it just automatically like takes everything. And then sometimes it'll do that for me and sometimes it won't. I'm just going to tell you right now, what's actually going to happen, you guys won't see it. I'll try not to show it to you, but what's actually going to happen is I'm going to go in and I'm going to turn on super strength and we will be doing stuff. I don't know what super strength input means. We'll be using super strength to basically pull trees out and drop them or rotate them or whatever I need to do to actually do the chainsaw. Because otherwise I'm just running around in there and I can't figure out what I'm doing. See, like here. Can't get it. Got to jump on top. I don't know. It's just... I mentioned in the first episode, logging and forestry is in the game. It's not designed for these type of trees, though. Look, I'm crouching. There, drop it on that one. I don't know. This is Farming Simulator. Welcome to Farming Simulator and trying to harvest trees. It's like, how do you do it? You do it like this. Okay, well, that works a lot of times, but sometimes it doesn't work. Yeah. That's the game. I can cut it there, but I can't remove that branch. You gotta love it. Making me mad now. I just want to like get rid of it. It's still attached, huh? We're gonna just run this over with the mower. I'm just telling you now because that piece of wood has made me mad. So something like this. It's got some branches at the end, and a couple of them are long, and so you might need to chop off like a branch or two, but for the most part, that'll go on the log trailer. So that's an oak. The oaks are pretty good. I think this one's a shagbark. Yep, that's a shagbark hickory. That one will cut down pretty well as well. Let me chop it. And I will not use super strength to actually load these. No, fall down. There you go. So that's perfect, right? That's a shagbark. That one comes out like really nice. And there's different sizes of them. You know, some of them are bigger than others. Like here, that's a shagbark. And I think it will keep a short. I think the branch will cut off like maybe right in there or something. It'll keep a little short nub that's even shorter than the oak tree. So the shagbarks and the oaks are great. The problem is the American elms. And here's one right here. That's an American elm. Its branches will go all the way out to there and all the way out to there, and they're just gigantic. And I don't want to cut 50 branches off this tree and try to load them all on the log trailer. We can make a lot of money by chopping a tree down, getting it on that trailer, and getting it to the sell point over in town. And you can see, like, shagbark hickory, oh, I can just drop the whole tree and load it and go and make good money. The oak... mostly I can do that. I might need to lop off a branch or two that's sticking way too far out. The American elms, though, it's like ridiculous trying to get that over to the sell point. So we have to chop a bunch of branches off. I don't want to have all these little branches that I have to load on the trailer then. So that's where the sawmill is going to come in. Because the sawmill can only process a small amount per day, what we're going to do is... we're going to chop off the little stuff that I don't want to deal with and put it in the sawmill. And anything big, we'll just load and sell. It's just, I think that's the most efficient way to do it. When you're dealing with these trees that you're not supposed to be dealing with when you're logging, because you're supposed to be dealing with the super straight trees, which are, you know, I don't even think this is necessarily a logging tree. But the logging trees are like that. Like the pine trees are like that, where it's just a nice straight pole. So I'm going to go ahead and chop a bunch of these down and get them all on the driveway and get them all looking like this, including the elm. And I'm just going to do kind of basically from this clearing to here. I'm just going to do these, and I'm not going to chop the bushes up or bring the brush hog in. And then I'm just going to bring you back. All the trees in this area are chopped down. That tree's on the other side of our little road there. So those are just the bushes. We'll end up deleting those with the brush hog. I've got these trees all in here. And then over in the field, there are 2 large American elms that I use super strength to just throw over there. And I haven't dealt with them yet because those are the bane of my existence. So I just wanted to show I am going to use the actual front end loader to load the log trailer. And that's because in a lot of cases, this is actually easier than using super strength, because with super strength, I can't really get back far enough in order to see. Now, we're not going to load this log trailer realistically. We're going to have stuff hang off. I don't care how much it hangs off. There's no police in Farming Simulator. There's no DOT. Nobody's giving me an oversized load ticket. So if it fits, it ships. Am I not getting this down low enough? There, that's got to be low enough. There we go. Okay. And I mentioned in the first episode, we're using this attachment, and I need to be careful here. Obviously, we're just a little bit top heavy. I'm using this attachment here. Oh, it doesn't help. We were driving over a stump. Because this attachment works really well. It's not realistic, but it works really well. See, and I can't quite get over this. Let me pull this back. And then, yeah. And the actual realistic attachment that you would use for logs in Farming Simulator just doesn't work very well at all. Just because of the physics. They don't let you crush logs like wood would actually be crushed by steel. So there is a formula for exactly how to make the most money, and you've got to cut the logs to a certain length, I think 8 meters or 10 meters or something, and remove the branches. We're going to remove the branches. We are going to do that, but we're not going to cut stuff to length. Like this is way too long of a log. I can't ship a log down the road like that. Hey, we're going to ship a log down the road like that because I don't care. I do try to do realism, but like there's an extent to my realism. There's definitely an extent. So I'll grab these logs here that are nice and just poles, and then we'll load the ones that have branches. And I just wanted to show that I am doing this. And yeah, okay, super strength with something. I thought that attached. Super strength with a tree like this. Yeah, that's probably easier than using the front end loader. But when it comes to like those 2 oak trees down there, trying to get the second one in, I find it a lot easier with the loader because I can stand back and look. And sometimes just getting it up as high as you can and then backing the truck up under it is the way to go. And I'll also just point out, in the first episode, I did not buy this trailer. Yeah, I wanted to make sure. I did not buy this trailer with the headache rack on the front of the trailer, which is totally unrealistic. But in the case of this log, it wouldn't have fit there. The headache rack would have hit it. I would have had to try to move back. So that's why I don't put that there. Okay, and I did jump in with some super strength there. And there's just, in real life, this would never happen. This would never happen. A tree that big, that heavy, would just completely snap those branches off. And yet, that's just not a thing they've added to the game, because again, when you do logging, you're not supposed to be doing it with these style trees. It's just that I usually end up doing logging because I'm trying to clear land, which, by the way, when farmers do logging, it's because they're clearing land, not because they're loggers. So I do wish they would think of that in some way and give us a better way to do this, because it's, realistic to be able to have a farmer clear land. Now, in this case, I'm just going to back the trailer up. I was going to try to not do that, but now we'll just back the trailer up. That's going to be simpler. There's just a lot to look at here. So you're watching one thing and then it's actually hitting somewhere else. I'm going to try to drop it. And all I want, okay, that's fine. Now I have to get the tractor away because one of the things is because the tractor has the tension belts and the trailer has the tension belts is when I do tension belts, it'll sometimes grab the tractor. Okay, that's going to be a full load. And yeah, you know, it's like hanging way out and touching the ground and stuff. I will go ahead and turn traffic off when we're doing stuff like this because you already know we're not going to make it otherwise. So we'll have traffic off for a little bit. We are going to run this to the sell point, and I have to drive this manually because obviously auto drive is it's going to hook something with some of these branches. So we'll go ahead and sell this. We'll come back. Yeah, the episode's getting kind of long, but I would like to try to get the sawmill down, and I wanted to kind of show what I'm doing here. So I'll just see you at the sell point. We'll try to speed this up. Okay, we're over at the sell point. I'm going to say maybe we got 8,000 here. Okay, almost 10. Not bad. Sell point is just past the dealer in town, so it's not very far. It's just, like I said, you can't get here with those American elm trees. They will get stuck on the bridge. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to drive back over, and I'm going to get the brush hog out, and we'll just do a quick time lapse because you might like that. I like watching the brush hog clear everything, but I'll just do a quick time lapse of the brush hog clearing everything. And then we'll move the road. I want to put the sawmill down in this episode. So yeah, there's the shop. Here's the bridge, right? So we're almost back. So let me get the brush hog out. All right, this is going to be another example of just when things just absolutely don't work. This is set up as a stump grinder, and you saw me multiple times stop and grind stumps, and it pretty much does it in one shot. I've hit this, and you can tell when you hit it because it makes the grinding noise. I have stump ground this multiple times from multiple different angles, and it just absolutely grinds it but doesn't delete it. So I'm going to use the real object helper to just remove that quote-unquote tree. That just happens. You just can't stump grind some things. And I think there was one little area I missed. Oh, right here. And that one might do the same thing because I think I've driven over that twice. And you can hear it. It ground it, but it's still there. Ground it, but it's still there. Yeah, it just does it. I don't know. Just another thing that for some reason after multiple versions of the game, they just can't seem to figure that little bug out where it's like, yeah, every once in a while you just have to stump grind something 37 times to get rid of it. All right, so we got rid of that. I could have just deleted the grass, I guess. I didn't really... should I bale it? I mean, should I bale it? Should we bale it? I'm trying to get this wrapped up. I just want to put in... Nah, we'll just put in a gravel road in. Okay. Let me, hold on. Let me time lapse this. This is taking too long. All right, it's not letting me quite do what I want because I don't own this land. There's another mod. Let's just add another mod. There's a mod that lets you terraform and sculpt the ground anywhere, and I didn't think I really needed it, but obviously I do because, you know, I need to fix this little divot here, number one, and then kind of gravel this a little bit more. This is taking too long. Yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and end the episode here because I need to install that mod, and then I'm going to need to chop a few more trees down because the sawmill. And I'll give you a preview of next episode. The sawmill, it's this little guy here, and he's not very big on his own. And I'm kind of thinking he might end up like right in here or something. I'm not entirely sure where. But the thing is, there's an in-game one that looks just like this. This is a mod though. And the reason I have this mod, what's different between it and the in-game is the in-game one only accepts logs. This one accepts logs and pallets of wood, not pallets made out of wood, but pallets that have wood on top. That's very important because I found this other mod called wood storage. And what it lets you do is it lets you drop logs in it. And then the logs appear in that log pile, but they're not really logs. They're actually quote unquote pallets of wood. And the point is, I wanted to have more storage. I wanted to have more storage for this where I could drop a bunch of trees and then it could process the trees for a few months without actual trees sitting here. And so I found this wood storage thing. And I'm like, oh, wood storage, that's perfect. But this thing, they're not really logs in game. They're pallets of wood. So I found a sawmill that accepts the pallets of wood. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to put this down and we're going to put this down and we're going to drive up to it. And we're going to use the trigger that's on the left and we'll drop our trees, which means probably it'll end up kind of being like this. So we'll drop our trees in that trigger now on the bottom. And then the quote unquote pallets of wood that look like logs will be over on the right side. And then this sawmill, its trigger, it'll probably be like this because it'll be like this, which means I need it to do it this way. I don't know how it goes. I'll test that out. But anyways, no, because it would have to be like this, which means the pallets of wood would be on the back, which is not what I want. But the one thing will feed this thing automatically, basically, is what we're going for. So, yeah, somehow that's going to go in here. I'm disappointed. I wish that was... I'll figure it out. We'll do that next time, because obviously I need to figure that out, and I need that mod, because I have to fix this. I have to fix this. I can't have that little bump right there, because we're going to be, like, shooting through here at high speed. And obviously we'll take this gravel out. All right. Well, that's the end of episode 2. I will see you guys next time.